We're sorry. The number you have reached is not in service. Please check the number or try your call again. This is a recording.
Are you listening?
Listen to people. Learn what you can.
What is racist and what is just ignorance?
If you've got a friend or an ally or somebody in your corner there to support you, amazing.
I just can't wait for the day where we're no longer pleasantly surprised that someone is LGBT+.
Ask questions on a personal level, do better.
Asking pronouns.
It was like the moment that I realised I was different.
Winning that award topped this year off for me.
Because without you, this world wouldn't be the same.
Are you listening?
Are you listening?
Are you listening?
Are you listening?
Welcome back to Are You Listening, the Oxfordshire Youth Podcast. Are You Listening is a podcast for young people, by young people, to discuss all of the things that they're passionate about. At Oxfordshire Youth, we wanted to make sure that young people had a space to fully express themselves in a way that they felt completely confident about. And that's how this podcast was created. We hope you enjoy this episode.
Hi, my name's Ace. My pronouns are he/him.
Hi, my name's Nabila and my pronouns are she, her.
On today's episode, we'll be speaking about eating disorders and calorie count. This may be upsetting for some viewers, and if so, there are other podcasts which you can possibly check out which are more positive. Welcome back to the Are You Listening podcast. Well, on today's episode, we are going to be talking about body image and body positivity and body image in the media as well, as also government policies which are being created as a result. So I'd just like to start off the podcast by asking, Nabila, what do you personally love about your body?
So I'm a South Asian woman, and I really appreciate how there's been a lot of representation recently on South Asian women and how we look. Just simply as that, I'm just really grateful for that. The melanin and dark hair. So that's what I love about my body and what I look like. What about you, Ace?
I think I love how I'm a half Asian person. I absolutely love it. It's something which
you
is
are.
very different. Thank you. But I think it's also for you, it's very good celebrating your personal cultural self and not trying to be something else, something which we in the UK want to identify as. So I think that's really positive from you. But for me, I just think stereotypically for Asians like myself, it's really hard to put on weight, I find. So building like a stereotypical muscular man build doesn't come apparent to me. So I just accept who I am, really.
That's really good. Yeah, I think when you said that, what really stuck with me when you said being an Asian person in the UK is very hard to, especially with the representation and what we look like.
Definitely.
You definitely just don't see it. And it is nice, especially recently, being able to see it on the TV and on Netflix and stuff. It is really important.
Of course. Well, why not we talk about the positive stuff in the industry in the UK, which we've seen about bodies. Really start this episode off with a positive start. So what do you think is so amazing about the industry, which is positive towards bodies?
I think recently there's been a huge turning point in the representation in body image and what kind of bodies are being shown in the media. So it's definitely taken a turn for the best, and I definitely feel like there is much more of a positive light towards non-stereotypical, an ideal body shape. There is no such thing as that. I feel like that's completely been taken up, turned around, and I'm really, really happy about that. I feel like
Definitely.
Definitely. It's really noticeable. I feel like the way that a lot of people talk about body image is much more positive and less as a taboo, because I feel like it was people just didn't want to talk about it, and now I feel like it's different now. What do you think?
I think like people have grown to become so open about their bodies recently.
Yeah,
Like
definitely.
really displaying how much of a difficult journey it may be to meet the media or just constantly combating the media. It's like when I log onto Instagram, I sometimes see these people who have gone on this incredible transformation journey, or someone who's really struggling. But it's amazing how they're both open about their journeys, and I think that's what is just really incredible. But I think just people realizing the fact that there's not one body type, also through the media, and there's not always one model body to fit, is a turning point for us because it shows maturity, really.
Definitely.
But yeah, so we're talking about obviously fitting in, being Asian people, you and me. So do you think the fact that recently there's been more inclusivity in fashion, music, media?
Yeah, I think I have seen more things mainstream. Obviously not enough, but it is, I feel like it's not enough representation, but it's like a movement, you know, like we're getting there sort of thing. Yeah, I mean, obviously, like I feel like me and you, both Asian people, it is, I think, is a good thing to talk about because we both get it. Yeah, I mean, I don't really know. Like, I think things like, you know, like big films and like Netflix shows, especially like the shows that are getting more popular, they'll have like a main lead who's like who looks like me or you know.
Yeah.
Like things like that. I think that is the main thing in media that I notice. I mean, there's definitely more. There has to be more, which is really good. But yeah, that's what I've been like really happy about and pleased with.
I have been too as well, because like when you take a character or a hero who isn't like someone who's similar to you, you can sort of identify with them.
Yeah.
And I feel like children as well can identify with that character. It's like the Little Mermaid films just come out.
Yeah.
And
oh my gosh.
obviously Little Mermaid being white within the storybooks, but now is from the Black community. I think that is absolutely outstanding. Like you've got children looking up towards that, being like, that's the princess I can really sort of identify with.
Exactly. It's so incredible. That was a very recent thing as well. Like it's like representation like that really matters. And yeah, like the children, like the videos that you see of the little kids, like if that's not like, that's just like proof. Like I wish I had that, like when we were little kids. Like I don't know, like it's just really, really good to see. Yeah.
But it's not just that. I mean, you've got Moana, you've got all these other sorts of like cultural films in the media sort of coming out. And I think towards the future, we're going to see a lot more real life actors. I mean, acting from different sort of cultural groups.
Yeah, no, I think so as well. I think, yeah, this is definitely just the beginning. For the future generations, I feel like a lot of the Disney films, you know, like the big Disney films, or like Marvel, the mains, like hopefully, like I definitely think that is going to happen. It's going to be more people with like minority groups, and all different like body types as well. Like the inclusivity is going to be so much more broader.
Definitely.
Yeah, to make it like normalized, because it's really hard for things to be normalized in the media, but I feel like we are going in the right direction.
100%. I agree with that. I also feel like in the music industry as well. I mean, you're starting to see like not. So before, obviously, you had like one body type for like dancers and backup singers, and the way people had to sort of dress and be like to be a pop star, whatever. But now you're starting to see it range a lot more. And a person I think like being at the forefront of all that movement is Lizzo.
Yeah, I was thinking, yeah, she is just amazing.
She is
She's so
amazing.
incredible. Love her.
I mean, she is really sort of changing the way we think about bodies. She's on the media. I mean, with her music as well. She's not ashamed to dance all over stage, of course. But
Yeah.
it's like she's really accepting of who she is, and she's accepting of anybody else as well. And she's even created like a clothing fashion range, which has extended sizes, which no other clothing sizes normally have.
Yeah, definitely. And I think with another celebrity, another pop star that I'm thinking of, which might spark a different side of the conversation, is Adele. Of course, like recently she's lost a lot of weight, and I feel like the media really reacted. Like
They did, definitely.
everyone reacted so interestingly.
Yeah.
And I just want to like unpack it because I'm just like a lot of the reactions were so different. Like some people were like completely turning on her and like making like skinny shaming even. Like it was so like interesting to see how much these people behind the screen had to say about her weight loss. And I just think with pop stars, like with celebrities and musicians, the way like who would have ever thought that the way that they look has such a chokehold on their career and their music. Like it's their music, but
Yeah.
no, everyone has so much to say about what they look like. So that's why I think it's just so important on the normalized, like how it should be normalized. And I agree, like Lizzo is a huge step forward. Like the way that she speaks, the way that she is, like it's just so incredible that it's just interesting. I just think about it all the time, like, but why? Like
It is very interesting. But going on to that Dale point again, like I feel like the media loves to just have an insight into all these people's lives, and they
100%.
don't need it. They really don't need it at that point. Obviously Adele's tried hard or whatever. She's gone through her journey.
Yeah, no, exactly. Yeah.
But she doesn't need anyone exactly commenting on that. I mean, her before was as perfect as she is now. She's always been perfect. And I just feel like the media likes to comment on people's body types despite them being okay and despite it not being a major factor in what they do.
No, I agree. Yeah.
Yeah. So moving on, should we should we look at some other points where
Yes, let's do it.
Body positivity in, let's just say, fashion has been represented more, I think, now than ever, I'd like to say. Because I was recently, there was a Moncler fashion show. I don't know if you saw it at all. It was all over the media.
I didn't see it, no.
No, you didn't see it? Okay. Well, they had lots of different people from different cultures, different body sizes. I think it was absolutely incredible. But they were obviously like height stacked and everything. But the fact that they had a lot of people who looked very different from each other, just normal people, I think that is something which is amazing.
I'm actually looking at it right now. That is incredible. I didn't even know about that. I'm shocked that I didn't hear about that or see it. But yeah, I think because it was Fashion Week.
It was Fashion Week, yeah.
Last week?
I think so.
Yeah, I think it was last week. Yeah, I saw like the runways are looking really good this year in terms of like the models and the casting.
Yeah.
It's like I feel like all round things are going quite well. And another thing that I've noticed is that these brands are, not all of them, and I can't really name who, but I have seen it, like they are becoming self-aware kind of on like getting called out or something, on noticing that there's only one like body type on this runway. Like it's becoming more, they're becoming more self-aware, I think. I mean, I think the fashion industry is very behind still, but No, yeah, I think Fashion Week was really, it was good. It was good. At the end of the day, it was really good with the inclusivity. There is much more to be done, but yeah, it was a good show.
I think the fact that it is more positive than ever is just like it really just illustrates the fact that they're making a step in the right direction.
Yeah, no, exactly. Yeah, it's that, you know, like going towards the right direction.
Yeah, that really matters. And it's also the thing where if they have just normal people, not exactly these people which they want, which fits into their categories, just everyday people from every single body type which exists. If they have those people, I think it also helps them because it's a wider market to market to, because you have people being like, okay, I can fit into that stuff. That's absolutely fine. I don't need to look like that to fit into that dress or whatever.
Yeah, that
I
is
feel it just winds it up so much.
Yeah, no, that you're so right.
Yeah, and I think like there's lots of brands which do that, but there's lots of brands which don't do that also. I mean, you have likes of Abercrombie and Fitch and stuff, and their whole scandal in the 2000s. And Brandy Melville as well.
Brandy Melville, yeah, I was gonna say Brandy Melville.
I mean, Brandy Melville is just so toxic. How they have one piece of clothing in one size.
I know.
If you like that piece of clothing, you've got to be that size to be able to fit it. And for some people, that might not be the case, and it's very frustrating. It shouldn't be the case.
Definitely. And there was even like, I don't know if you saw this about Brandy Melville, the way that they interview people for their.
No, I haven't.
Yeah, like there's been like a lot of experiences where people have gone in for an interview at Brandy Melville, and it's very noticeable as to who they said no to.
Wow, that's very bad.
I know, yeah. And it's sort of like, it came out a lot in 2020. I remember it so well because it was just such a shock. Like, it was so blatant, and like, it's just like, do you have no shame? Like, that is just so obvious, and it's horrible. I'm pretty sure it's still like that because there's still scandals within Brandy Melville. But yeah, it doesn't seem real. It's just awful.
Yeah, I just think the question is like, how can it still be around? How can it still be accepted by some brands? Like, are they not past that point where they have seen these modern movements, they have seen what people actually do care about, and they should care about it themselves?
It makes me think. I can't get my head. I don't even want to try and understand it. I don't think I could if I tried. But yeah, I mean, some people are taking that step forward, but then there are those fashion brands who just want to stay still for some reason. But
that's true. But I just can't get over one thing with it's like you've got people behind those brands and they're creating it. Like, do those people not realize themselves like how much it means to them personally, and they're still sending out all of these things?
I know, I agree. It's like they actively think that.
Obviously, we still have a way to go with all our social media and the fashion industry and the commentary on people's bodies and stuff. But what do you think about the LGBTQ plus inclusion and all the racial inclusions? Do you think the fact that we've reached a point yet where it's acceptable, or do you think we still need to be moving on?
I think it's definitely something, I don't know. I think with LGBTQ plus representation in like the fashion industry and just the media industry, I'm not like satisfied with it yet. It is still quite hard. Obviously, we've got like Cara Delevingne. She's like the main person who I can think of who is like a model.
Definitely, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's not. I just want to be able to just say someone. Like, I just want to be able to say a bunch of people, and I'm sure there is. I'm not too familiar with the fashion scene, so maybe the next person would be able to say so much more than me, but I think there's always room for diversity, racial diversity and LGBTQ diversity and inclusion. Yeah, I always think there's much more to be done. But yeah, what do you think?
I think we've sort of reached a point where the fashion industry has noticed these minorities and included them in whatever they do. So we have the likes of Gucci, and Gucci have included obviously people from different racial groups, twins, albino people, and they've also included lots of people from the LGBTQ plus community as well in their fashion runway shows. I think that just shows a lot of inclusivity, because you've taken a minority group and they're being represented in a very high status fashion community. And that's sort of just brought a light on everything. Because obviously it's not still just straight cisgendered people, it's everyone in the whole ranks of everything. But yeah, I think going towards the future, we're going to see it in lots of mainstream brands like H&M, Zara, River Island. Like,
yeah, I think Gucci are really, really good.
Gucci are very good.
Really, really good, yeah.
But I just hope like brands like Louis Vuitton, all those other high status brands take a light to what Gucci are doing and do it themselves.
I think so. I hope so. I'd like to hope so.
Yeah, me too. I really do hope so. But yeah, so I think we've talked a lot about the fashion community. Should we talk a bit about what's happening on with like the government's calorie count? I mean, that's going into the hospitality industry. I mean, that's a huge major step. So what's your opinion on the calorie count?
I think that was really recent, wasn't it?
It was very recent.
Yeah, it was just such a shock. And then going out to a restaurant and seeing it, I was like, it kind of makes me not want to go out to eat anymore. Like, it actually is just, they aren't just numbers. Like, the calorie count, I feel like it's really, really, it's like one of those subliminal things that they've done. Sort of slightly mentioning it, but that slight mention, it's very triggering to a lot of people, and it is so sensitive to a lot of people, of course. So I hate it. I really, really just, I don't know why they did it again, and I know that they got a lot of backlash for it, but I mean, it's the government, so I don't think,
They don't care too much.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to say. Yeah. But yeah, that's what I think about the calorie count. I just think it's disgusting in every way, to be honest.
I also think that it's very disgusting. I mean, the fact that they've taken the calorie count in particular, I mean, the better thing to do would be the nutritional value or nutritional
100%.
scale.
Yeah, I know.
So you can really look at something and be like, okay, that's got low calories to it, but there's something which is higher calories, but it's more healthy for me. So I can possibly go for that option. But as people looking at food from different styles, like something with a bit less oil or a bit healthier option, but it doesn't have to necessarily be healthy. I mean, you could just look at food and order what you like and not feel guilty about it.
Yeah, and enjoy it. Yeah.
Exactly. When you go to a restaurant, you should be enjoying it, not worrying about anything else.
Yeah, I think another thing, sorry, like everyone's got a different relationship with food. Like everyone is completely different. Everyone has a different history. So I think calorie counting, ultimately, it shouldn't be there. But you're right. Like, I think they could have done something good with it, like nutrition. Like they could have put that in, like we want the extra information, but maybe not that information, like the numbers, because at the end of the day, it's just numbers. It's just extra numbers that are on the menu, which affect people hugely.
Definitely.
But yeah, I just think it's unfathomable. Like I don't want to think about how they came to that conclusion. They were like, yeah, let's put that back, let's do that again. because yeah,
Yeah.
it's just shocking.
So if we look at the statistics, I've just searched them up. So from last year, before they put in this calorie count, 64% of adults were classed as overweight. Okay. But then directly after putting in the calorie count, from the government, 84% increase in eating disorders.
Wow.
So I think
I
that's
didn't
a
know that.
dramatic increase. I mean, considering the fact that they've implemented something which is meant to obviously counteract something, I think it's gone way too far. What they've done is a reverse effect, and it's just played back to them in a way which they couldn't comprehend. Well, I think there is no such thing as being the perfect weight. I mean, you can be healthy weight for sure, but I don't feel like calorie count is acceptable whatsoever. I feel like people should be educated possibly, and a nutritional scale would be so much better. I mean, if you're going to a restaurant, a fancy dining restaurant, the last thing you want to be worrying about is if you're on a diet or not, or if this is going to be good for you, or that contains too little or something if you're trying to bulk. I mean, that's not stuff you should be thinking about at a restaurant. And I think it also links to like just how happy you are as a person, because not having to worry about things all the time leads to a happy person overall, because you're not stressing.
Yeah, definitely.
So, thank you very much for listening to this episode about body positivity. It's been a very good episode with my good friend Nabila.
Thank you, Ace. Thank you for listening, everyone.
Thank you for listening, and we hope you listen to many more episodes in the future. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
If you enjoyed this episode of Are You Listening, make sure you subscribe, whether you're on Anchor, Spotify, or Apple Podcasts. And also make sure you're following us on social media as well, at Oxfordshire Youth on Instagram and TikTok, and at Ox Youth on Twitter.